It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrisie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 183 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens.
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton. But most importantly,
we hug chickens every day.
And we kiss them too. Don't forget. We brew coffee from a little roaster in Houston, Texas. Bright and early coffee. Holly-Ann, what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
Today we have the absolutely delicious Texas cinnamon.
It's delicious. You're going to want to try this. You can use our code CWTCL15 for 15% off your bagged coffee on their website or K-Cups, and they ship free. Where should everybody go to find this delicious coffee?
You can visit them at brightenearlycoffee.com. You can also go straight to Amazon and buy your coffee there.
It's delicious. You won't be disappointed. So are you ready to sip some of this delicious Texas cinnamon coffee and chat?
I am. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. They're here, new and improved, Grubbly's World Harvest.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats, plus orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein, perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
Grubbly Farms makes food and treats for healthy pets and planet.
To support us and Grubbly Farms, use the link grubbly.co/coffee. Try it today. Okay, so how are you doing over there?
Pretty well over here. How are you doing?
Hanging in. It's all I gotta say. Nice today. It's been nice the last few days. For everyone that follows us knows that I was shoveling wood chips on Friday, like 100 wheelbarrows of them.
I have wood chip envy.
I know. Like I posted the picture. I'm like, you're the crazy chicken lady when this is on your storyboard. That's
I was like,
yeah.
The size of that pile of shavings made my mouth water.
Still back there. You're more than welcome to bring some trash bags and take some with you for your runs. And every day I'm putting a few wheelbarrows in because it was so freaking muddy that it needs it. It's crazy.
It is starting to dry out a bit around here, thank goodness. But I'm envious of the wood chips for the garden and for the runs and for everything. So
it was so nice of the guys that were working from Clear Trees. They looked at me like I was crazy at first. And then I'm like, no, I'm close. I'm like one house over and you just drop them. And then when they came, they visited the chickens. I gave them each a dozen eggs to take home with them. And they were very sweet and very happy to get the eggs. It makes your day when people are excited to see your chickens.
Okay, so you had a nice interaction. And I know you told them about the podcast.
Yes.
You got to give away 3 dozen eggs and you got wood chips. That's like a triple win.
It was awesome. I love seeing people so excited to see the chickens. It was just nice. And they were like really into it. Like, oh, okay, what kind of breeds are these? And what do you do? It was just nice to see people interested in it.
I still have chip envy. I need some chips.
I need the chips.
I need
please.
the chips. I need them badly.
And on that note, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head on over to Apple Podcast and leave us a written review. It does amazing things for the growth of our show. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button because they count them. And go over to Spotify. If you listen there, give us a 5 stars. We would love it. Hit that subscribe over there too because, hey, you never want to miss an episode.
If you're looking for other ways to help support the podcast, you can tell some chicken-loving friends about us. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can visit our Etsy shop, tank tops, t-shirts, mugs. You can become a patron of the show. Patreon.com/Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. And the other thing you can do to help support the show is visit our website and our show notes, use our affiliate links and discount codes, and buy products from our sponsors.
Yay!
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera US.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you like subscription boxes?
Does it have anything to do with chickens?
Of course.
Then yeah. Let me take a minute to tell you about the Chicken Love Box. If you love goodies for your chickens and you need to go to chickenlove.com.
I love the mega box. Tons of useful products for my flock and a chicken tea for me.
You can't go wrong with a chicken tea. They are so cute and so soft.
In the April box, I absolutely love the chick leg bands and the organic soap set with hen decoration.
I am loving the Chicken Spirit long sleeve tee, and those chick vitamins, they could save a chick for sure.
Boxes start at $39 a month. They ship immediately after your order, and shipping is always free.
Such a great deal. Don't wait. Get off the nest and click already. Use the code CWTCL50 for 50% off your first box of a 3-month subscription or more. That's chickenlove.com. That's chickenluv.com. Get your subscription today.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by Murray McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, Murray McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business, working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards.
Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today. Cinnamon in my coffee. I love it. Cinnamon in my coffee. Yeah, it's time for the Breed Spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah. When I chose the coffee today, I forgot what chicken we were doing. So this is just a coincidence.
Yeah, but we all know how my brain works, right?
Yes. As soon as you started singing, I was like, wait.
Okay, so this week's Breed Spotlight is
the Cinnamon Queen.
And that's what we are, drinking our cinnamon coffee, talking about the Cinnamon Queen.
Cinnamon Queen. That is hilarious. I honestly did not even think about that. Now, this is not a breed. This is a hybrid variety. Just
verification.
Right. So just a quick rundown. A heritage breed is different from a hybrid because a heritage breed is genetically distinct and the offspring will breed true. A hybrid chicken is generally created for a purpose. Most of the time it's for heavy industrial laying.
Right.
And each generation has got to have the particular parent stock, like one of this breed and one of this breed.
And generally they're man-made versus nature-made, right? So...
Well, right. I mean, the breeding is completely controlled because if there's anything other than the particular parent stock used, then you don't get a Cinnamon Queen.
Right. Exactly.
The Cinnamon Queen is a hybrid layer developed in 1993 by Cackle Hatchery.
Not that long ago.
No, not at all. We were in college.
Yes, we were.
And
living the life.
Yeah, that's right. So Cackle Hatchery, which is in Missouri, they hold the trademark for the name Cinnamon Queen. They're pretty good on their trademarks because if I'm correct, they also trademarked Easter egger.
That's what I thought too. And you know what? The thing to remember is chicken names are like wine. You go by the label and you go by how it sounds ringing on your ear. And Cinnamon Queen has a nice ring to it.
It does sound very nice. I mean, yes. I mean, think about this. If you used old ways of naming compared to new ways, like, TSC is filled with Midnight Mirans and Starlight Easter eggers and Sapphire Gems. That's
exactly. Funny. It rings in your ear. It's kind of like what they tell you when you go and you buy a bottle of wine, the label grabs you first. Really, it does. It's by sight, like you want to.
It just reminds me of a Friday night in Ohio when we had a little too much to drink.
In the grocery store?
In the grocery store. We didn't drink in the grocery store. We just had a little too much to drink. And we'd gone to the grocery store for ice cream. And they had aisles and aisles of wine. And we were hilariously trying to find chicken wine. And we didn't. All we found was owl wine. Anyway.
And we had the man who followed us from Goodwill and all through the grocery store.
That's right.
Yes, he wanted to hang with us, but he was just like stalking us through the whole 2 stores.
It was a little stalkery. It's true.
Oh, it was. He was like, he wanted to hang with the chicken ladies, and we were like, no.
Well, I'll tell you what, anybody who abducts us had better buckle up. It is not going to end well.
It's not.
Anyway, we just talk them to death.
Oh my God.
Okay, back to the cinnamon queen. These are sex-linked birds, which I'm fairly certain all hybrids are. The males and females can be sexed and hatched because they have different colors.
Makes it easier.
Right. In this case, the cockerels are white while female chicks are brown.
Oh my God. Does it get any easier?
Seriously, like some auto-sexing breeds or sex-linked breeds, it's like there's a dot on the female's head that's a different color.
Right.
But this one, the chicks are completely different colors. The sex-linked colors only occur from Cackle's proprietary parent stock.
Top secret. Will not
They actually do tell you what they have their own strains,
right?
Their own breeding line, but they do tell you the breeds. So, and we'll get to that in a few. If you breed the babies together, and I'm talking this first generation of babies, if you breed them together, they will not breed true. You'll get what looks like barnyard mixes.
Oh, man.
Well, because they're created with two distinct breeds and they don't breed true because they're bred for these particular traits, including the visual, the color.
Exactly.
Like a lot of the hybrid varieties, they grow and mature quickly, and they start laying eggs earlier than a lot of the standard breed chickens do.
It's across the board for hybrids. They're going to start way earlier.
Right. Now, like you were saying, Cackle developed the cinnamon queens using straight-combed Rhode Island red roosters and straight-combed Rhode Island white hens.
Whoa.
It's that simple.
It's that simple, man.
And like I said, the parent stock comes from Cackle's own specific strains and bloodlines. Like our friends at McMurray, Cackle also maintains their own breeding farms, breeding barns.
Right, exactly.
So these are their strains of Rhode Island Red and Rhode Island White. This means that you can't really breed these breeds together and call them cinnamon queens.
You can, but they really won't be that.
You can, but they really won't be that. Plus, there's that little trademark.
You could get yourself in trouble.
I mean, you could theoretically.
You don't want to go to chicken jail. No, you don't want to do that. So just
You're
go.
Lucky if you go to chicken jail. You don't want to go to regular jail. Thank you.
No.
I seriously doubt Cackle's going to hunt you down and do something if you call your birds cinnamon queens. But if you are breeding them and selling them under that name and you get too big for your britches, you could have some legal trouble there.
Oh, yes, you could. No doubt.
Now, Cackle developed the cinnamon queen as an alternative to the Isa Brown, was they do note that the cinnamon queen's performance is quite comparable to the Isa Brown.
Right.
They did intend them to be a production line. And overall, this variety fits the bill for a dual-purpose bird, and they are popular hybrids for homestead use.
They're very popular. You hear a lot of people getting this. And I think partly is, again, I'll go back to that name mystique. You want some cinnamon queen in your flock. And the fact that there are people out there that go towards the hybrid breeds because they want the major egg laying. And, that's fine. Some people do that. So this is a breed for you. Now, let's go into kind of the characteristics of the cinnamon queen. They're pretty good sized birds. Now, the roosters run about 7 to 8 pounds, while the hens are 6 to 7 pounds. That's a good size for a homestead. It's not a little bird. It's not a huge bird.
That's
right
a good huggable bird.
A lot of hugs.
A lot of hugging. Mm.
Now, the hens are pretty reddish brown that does match the shade of, guess what?
Cinnamon. It is a cinnamon color. It's very pretty, I think.
And they can have a band of white on the end of their tail feathers and an occasional white feather throughout. So they're not 100% that cinnamon color. You could see some white in there, which is awesome. And the roosters are white with some red in their hackle, wing, and saddle tail feathers. Okay. So they're really cool looking birds. They have straight combs, red earlobes, and they have my clean yellow legs. Oh, yeah.
Well shaven.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think that they're one of the prettier hybrids around.
Mm-hmm.
And you can definitely see the Rhode Island parentage in them.
Oh, yeah. They're going to remind you of a Rhode Island red. That's for sure.
I saw photos of some of them that just kind of looked like every other red six link out there. But then I saw some other photos of them where they were like fluffy and like really like a lot of fluffy drawers, big booty.
Yeah.
The kind of chicken we like.
Now we go into egg stats. They're hybrids. So what do you guys think here? Hens are going to lay you lots of eggs, especially that first year. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're going to give you 250 to 300 extra large eggs that are brown per year. Now, that number is going to be highest in the beginning, but even at year 2, it's going to drop.
Like by the time they're 18 months old, it starts to diminish.
That's what hybrids are known for,
Yeah.
So just know that that number seems really great for the first year, and then you're going to get a drop.
Right.
They'll occasionally go broody, though they're really not known for it. And, they have really calm and friendly personalities. And this is where I want to put a little caveat in, and we talk about this every time we talk about hybrids, but I think we have to mention it. Their lifespan is half of what a heritage breed is. So if you have children and you get a hybrid, they're super friendly. That's one of the great things about them. And they really take on, they'll take your heart and you're going to love them. But their lifespan is 2 to 4 versus 8 to 10. The other thing is they can have lots of reproductive health problems. So buckle your seatbelt and know that that can happen. They can have reproductive cancers. They can have vent prolapses, different things from the amount of just the sheer level of eggs they have to lay. So
that laying can take its toll. I saw in a couple of places people saying the average lifespan was 5 to 10 years. I mean, I would probably guess if you have a very healthy strain of cinnamon queens, you're lucky to make the 5 to 7 mark.
I would say you're lucky to hit 5 to 7. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, knowing what we know in stats for hybrids, we're not just saying this because we would love for a hybrid to live 8 to 10 like a heritage breed. Unfortunately, when you're bred to lay that many eggs, the reproductive problems, it can make their lives shorter.
Right, right.
I mean, it's just one of those things.
And the best advice we could give to someone who has hybrids is make sure these girls get tip-top nutrition. All the egg laying support they need, keep their stress minimal, don't light your coops, give them the life of Riley.
And here's the thing, what we learned when we talked to Mark and Twain about Nutrena and all their research and starting the juveniles at 16 weeks with that layer feed, that might help them be healthier throughout.
Right.
So, this new information that we have could maybe prolong their lives. Let's test it out. Let's see. Instead of waiting until that first egg is laid to then change to a layer feed, the importance of all the calcium that they need in building that reproductive system, the hybrids, this would be really important to make sure at 16 weeks you're switching to a layer feed for these.
It would be great to get some data on that eventually and see these. True to their parentage, they are active chickens, even though they're calm and laid back. They like to forage.
Right.
They're a good homestead breed for a lot of reasons. Now, if you're looking for a homestead breed that you're going to keep and breed generation for generation, we would definitely steer you heritage breed in that regard. But if you're doing the hybrids, just like any other chicken, they poop, they make fertilizer. They eat bugs. They're a great addition to a permaculture homestead or a regenerative ag plan.
And they make a great pet. They have awesome personalities.
And eggs. Oh, so many eggs.
Right. So there are benefits, but go in with your eyes open.
Yeah.
And especially if you have children. This is what I worry about because they get so attached to them.
The kids get attached. Absolutely. I get attached too.
Oh, I get attached at sight to anybody,
Yes.
So just know that. And that's probably one big reason that I don't have them because I can't bear that thought. That's why I never had a hamster in my life. Not going to happen. Seriously.
I've never been tempted by the hybrids because I'm such a heritage breed geek.
Yeah, me too.
I love any chicken. If one came my way and needed a home, of course I would take her.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about where everybody can find the cinnamon queen. And we've been talking about it all along. Where do you have to go?
Pretty much every hatchery out there has their own line of production laying hybrids. And I don't know that any of them are better than the others, read your reviews, etc. they'll all have some variety of sex-linked hen. That's one other place where if you can't have roosters, the sex linking also has its advantages. Anyway,
Yeah, definitely.
You can buy cinnamon queens directly from Cackle. They sell them as day-old chicks. Every now and again, they sell hatching eggs, and they'll also sell started pullets. But apparently, Hoover's also sells them. So you may find them at your local TSC.
There you go. Okay. So if you have the cinnamon queen, send us some pictures. We'd like to give you a story. When you do your story, hit that mention button, type in Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. That way we can reshare your story to ours. We love sharing everybody's stories. Keep sending them. We love
I
them.
don't see those fancy birds.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of backyard ducks? Look no further than Metzer Farms, your premier destination for top quality waterfowl. Whether you're a seasoned breeder or just starting out, Metzer Farms has everything you need to elevate your flock to the next level. And if you're passionate about call ducks, you're in for a treat.
Metzer Farms hatches a stunning variety of call ducks, meticulously bred for their miniature size, beauty, and calm temperament. From snowy whites to vibrant colors, each duck is a masterpiece waiting to grace your backyard. Visit MetzerFarms.com today to browse their extensive selection and start your journey into the wonderful world of waterfowl. Metzer Farms, where passion meets perfection. Roosty's proudly sponsors Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. They're back with an innovative new product. You're going to want to check this out.
It's an extra large set, a 14-pound feeder in 3-gallon water with steep anti-roost lids. They're made of super durable material. You can either stand them on legs or hang them on brackets on your coop or fence. They're easy to remove and clean too. Plus, they look awesome.
We personally use Roosties and we're huge fans. So if you're raising chicks or keeping chickens, check out the Roosty store on Amazon or follow the link in our show notes.
UK chicken lovers, this one's for you. Get happy, healthy hens with ECONourish's live Calci worms. Enrichment, nutrition, and protection in one tasty, sustainable pack. Scientifically proven to support glossy feathers, strong laying and skeletal health,
protect from disease, and improve gut health and immunity. You'll also bust flock stress by stimulating natural instincts and get eco-bragging rights. Visit ECONourish.co.uk and use the code COFFEE15 for 15% off your first order. Your chickens and the planet will hug you for it. Are we ready to move on to main topic? Yeah.
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 Joining us today is Dr. Yuko Sato. We are so excited to have her with us. Dr. Sato is the Extension Poultry Veterinarian at Iowa State University. She has a DVM, so she is a veterinarian, and a master's in poultry science from Purdue University. Dr. Sato, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited.
Welcome. It's so great to meet you. I get chills every time I meet another poultry veterinarian that's all into this and so excited and all for the greater good of the chickens. We are beyond excited to have you on.
Thank you.
We're also very excited to say that Dr. Sato is going to be at Murray Fest Midwest in June. You're one of the speakers there. So that's super exciting.
Yeah. So, Dr. Yuko, it is excellent to meet you. And we want to kind of share you with all of our listeners. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and, just about becoming a poultry veterinarian and everything about it? It's just fascinating.
Sure. So I'm originally from Japan. My name is a little different. So I'm from Japan. I actually did my undergrad in Georgia. And then I actually was interested in going into business, but something happened and I was doing a part-time job milking cows. And that's kind of how I got interested in veterinary medicine. And
Yay.
my advisor thought I was a pre-vet student. So he was like, why aren't you doing this class and that class and whatever? And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm from Japan. I don't know what I'm doing. So then I took the classes he told me to take. And then come like third year of undergrad, so basically my junior year, he's like, so what veterinary schools are you applying to? And I was like, oh, that was definitely not my plan. I was going to go get an MBA and do business, but I guess I have enough credits to apply. So I'll try and see if I get in. And I got in. So went
Fantastic.
to Purdue. Yeah, went to Purdue doing hopefully cattle, and the milk market crashed. And I realized really quickly that one of the things you have to do as a cattle vet is to put your arm in the cow's butt and do a pregnancy exam. And I wasn't particularly great at it, nor was I really fond of it. And I was more interested in doing a lot of consulting, talking to people, hanging out with farmers, and hopefully helping their production be better. So I was like, how can I get to consulting faster? And luckily, I had a professor at Purdue who's also a chicken lady. So you guys will really hit it off with her. Her name is Dr. Pat Wakenell, and she's the token chicken lady. She adorns herself with chicken dresses and necklaces and handbags that have a name. Anyway, she had a poultry residency program that she was starting at Purdue, and she was looking for students, and I didn't have a job lined up. And she was like, well, are you interested in going into poultry? And I was like, I know nothing about chickens, but I have a background in production medicine. She's like, you know what? I think it's good enough. Let's give it a try. And out here I went. The first day of class, when I was teaching students as a first-year resident, I had less knowledge than the average fourth-year veterinary student, but I had a steep learning curve. And I think the stamp of approval I got from her was we went out to a little, I guess it's like a little beach area. And there was a seagull. And as a joke, there was a seagull that was kind of stumbling around. And she didn't mean it for me to do it, but she said, go catch that seagull. We're going to do an exam. And I said, oh, okay, whatever. So I went to go catch that seagull. And she's like, well, I didn't expect you to actually catch the seagull, but I did. So I think I earned her respect at that point.
Yeah, seagulls are not nice. I've rescued seagulls from the middle of the road before, one with a broken leg, and they weren't appreciative of the rescue.
Yeah, they're very mean.
They're not very nice. They'll go after you hardcore. So congrats on catching a seagull.
Thank you. Yeah,
I don't think do it again.
Did you do the exam?
Yeah, I did do the exam. It had a twisted leg. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So rest is history. I got my degree. I had letters behind my name, and I think I looked credible enough to get hired from Iowa State. So here I am.
And did you fall in love with poultry pretty instantly when you started working with them?
Yes. So I did have birds growing up, but not like chickens or ducks or turkeys. I had pigeons and I had parakeets and I had finches growing up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Pigeons. Wow. Were you born in Japan?
I was born in Japan. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And so the pigeons were here or there?
They were back home in Japan. So I actually had one free flying in my house, and it lived about 17 years of age.
Nice.
Yeah. It can come on command. It can deliver mail. It was kind of a weird experience, but I treated it like a dog, and it did whatever it wanted it to do.
Well, they have the reputation of put a note on them, and they're going to take it where they go.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's really cool. I mean, there is a small, I think, very dedicated group of pigeon hobbyists here in the U.S., but it's nowhere near as common as the other poultry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's super cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's really neat. I love learning about your background. That's so neat. I have an African gray parrot also. So aside chickens, I do have a parrot. So I know, they're the same yet different. Everyone kind of thinks they're somewhat the same, but they really are a little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does a typical workday look like for you?
That's a wonderful question. It is all over the place.
We figured it would be.
So I work at the diagnostic lab. So that means that I get to see patients that are live or maybe dead that come to the lab. And I get to do basically a necropsy, which is a chicken autopsy. And I try to figure out what's wrong with them, why they died, or if it's infectious disease or not. So that's my main job. But my other job is I'm in extension, meaning I get to kind of share my knowledge with the industry, with the community, and with other veterinarians. So I do a lot of workshops. I do a lot of training sessions. I do a lot of talks and meetings, that kind of stuff. But I'm still at the university, so I'm also a teacher. So I have graduate students. I have veterinary students that I teach that are coming to Murray Fest with me. And then I also teach like a lecture course to talk about the importance of, poultry medicine, biosecurity, and like how to diagnose like foreign animal diseases like avian influenza.
How important do you think an autopsy is for someone who just suddenly loses a bird for an unexplained reason?
You know what? For me, it's everything, but I love doing them. But the thing is, I also love doing them, but I also love not making mistakes. So the point of the chicken autopsy is to make sure that whatever this chicken died from, I can put a name to it. Because otherwise I can say, oh, this chicken's not doing well. It could be like 20 of these things, but we have no idea. Let's throw some random drugs or throw some random therapy, and it might have nothing to do with what's wrong with it. So I love having like accurate diagnosis so I don't make mistakes. And again, it's not going to hurt the bird longer because I have something that I can actually treat it with.
And with the necropsy, if someone has their flock back at home and they have a sudden death, it can help them know that the rest of the flock is okay. Maybe it was reproductive cancer. Was it intestinal parasites? Was it, an organ failure or any of those things? It can bring peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. For me, the minimum is like, let's rule out avian influenza and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure.
Now that moves us into the next question because it's the season of festivals, poultry swaps, state and county fairs. We're moving into all these things. So you work with biosecurity with poultry day in and day out. So we want to say, can you bring some tips to our listeners of if you attend these things, like you attend the fair, you attend the poultry swap, what should you or should you not do when you get home to your own flock? And a part of this too is it really safe to go to a swap and bring chickens home to your flock at that point?
That's a wonderful question. So I think the first part is like even before going to the swaps or the fairs, just making sure that you're going into kind of like bringing a child to a daycare, right? It's fun. There's a lot of other kids. Yeah, so your chicken will see a lot of other chickens, but there's no guarantee your child or your chicken is going to come back with all sorts of munges and diseases, right? So kind of similar concept there. So even before going to the fair, make sure that hopefully everybody's a good neighbor and you're bringing your healthy chickens to the fair. And one thing I would strongly recommend is to make sure there is testing that people can do at the fair, but it's even better if you can do the testing before you come to the fair because they're good for 90 days. So if you can do your testing with a veterinarian or local testers in your county, get that done before you go there. Hopefully see that the chickens are healthy because again, it's pretty stressful, right? For a chicken.
And that's a blood test that the veterinarian will run just to check for different panels of things that they can be, giving to other chickens out there.
Yes. It's just a prick. It's almost like a diabetes test. So it's like a little prick in their blood vessel. You get one drop of blood, and then we're going to test to see if it has antibodies against salmonella or not. That's the test we run. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you're going to go to the fair, you're going to take your chicken C swaps. If they are showing any signs of upper respiratory, coughing, sneezing, any nasal discharge, not acting well, don't take them. And when you go, here's the thing. What should you do? Should we tell everybody wear different clothes, change your shoes before you come back in, all those good things?
Yeah, I wish I can tell them to do all that, but it's a little bit inconvenient, right? That's the thing I tell people is like biosecurity is either intimidating or inconvenient. Right?
I guess that's true. Yeah.
So if people can do all that, that's great. But what you can do is do what you can as yourself and just protect your own flock. So when you're coming back from those fairs, I won't go straight with those clothes to chore my chickens. I'd change out my clothes, maybe take a shower if you can, at least wash your hands, have a clean pair of boots that you only use for your farm. So don't go mucking in your chore boots to the poultry swaps and then come home. If you're bringing chickens to the fair, if you can keep them isolated or separated from the rest of your flock for a period of time, that's even better because sometimes those diseases take a little bit of time for them to show up.
Yeah. Okay.
How many days would you tell someone to keep them separated from the flock?
If I live in a crystal ball full of rainbows and unicorns and butterflies, 6 weeks, but then that's not ideal, right? Because most people aren't going to do that. If you can keep them isolated, maybe for a week, 2 weeks, somewhere around there, at least to make sure there's no really bad disease happening, I think that's great.
So a lot of the diseases we're talking about are spread in dander or spread in respiratory droplets, where I'm assuming it would be very easy for a human to transmit this bird to bird.
It sure can. But the one thing you can do is sometimes when I practice biosecurity and I'm really worried about bringing something, I'll take a shower myself. I'll wash my hair, everything like that. The thing we tell everybody when I have students come through, because some of them might own backyard chickens and we're going to farms, is I tell them you have a 3-day downtime. So 72 hours, no contact with poultry or other birds or even pigs. So there's no risk of spreading that, whatever virus or bacteria or something like that. If you want a nuclear plan where you want to be absolutely sure, you could take a kind of a little dropper full of alcohol, snort it up your nose, because sometimes you can carry it in your nose hairs.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It stings.
That could burn, man.
It stings like a mother, but it'll take care of it.
I mean, that is hardcore at that moment. You're like, excuse me for a second. I need to snort some alcohol. I need to burn my nostril hairs to get rid of anything that went up there. But the thing is, we would do that for our chickens.
Oh, yeah, we would.
It'd be like 3, 2, 1. Yeah, but you could do it. That's for sure.
That is hardcore. But yeah, I guess that would work, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, you have to sneeze it out, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wow. Wow. That's what I've never heard before.
You learn something new every single day of your life. And it's new and it's like an unbelievable, kind of funny thing, but
I can just think of memes and crazy videos involving that.
Yeah, hopefully there's no Tide Pod type of thing, but
you are so delightful and so fun.
It is kind of the nuclear option. Snort some alcohol and burn your clothes and you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is always have like Lysol wipes with you so that even at the most, you can wipe the bottoms of your shoes and the sides of your shoes off after getting back in the car and doing that kind of things, or wipe the pedals off. It's the thing because, having dogs and cats and small animals is so different than poultry, because you bring somebody in and generally you're not going to take out your entire, like you bring a dog in, you're not going to take out both dogs if this dog might be sick. But poultry, flock animals, they give everybody everything. So you have to be really careful. And if you go to a flock and you purchase chickens there, they need to be quarantined, like you said, 3 to 6 weeks at least.
Yeah.
You mentioned pigs earlier. Are pigs somehow really good transmitters of communicable diseases?
So there's a reason, because one is like the big elephant in the room is avian influenza, right? So chickens can get basically the swine flu or the H1N1 or H3N2 from pigs. They're pretty back and forth with each other. So that's one risk there. There's a couple of other diseases in pigs that can kind of cross animals as well, too. So one is a disease called erysipelas. It's also called fish handler's disease. So if you kind of deal with like picking up fish, they can also carry this bacteria. And that's one reason when you do a necropsy or an autopsy, you want to wear gloves, because there's no signs that maybe the chickens can show, but they might be carrying that bacteria. You can actually get sick from it, and you'll get like little ulcers in your hand. So you want to make sure you wear gloves when you do the necropsy yourself.
Wow.
Oh, wow. You are fascinating. It really is.
I have a real example too. So when I was working in an old lab with an old professor unnamed professor, he was kind of an old school guy, right? And he would come in there and he will actually do the necropsy bare hand, because he's just that old school.
Woo,
right. Well,
that's hardcore.
It is hardcore. Well, he had a flock of birds that he did the autopsy of the necropsy on. Turns out they did have erysipelas. So a couple days later, he had a fever and these like little spots on his hand. And one of the pathologists there was like, "That's fascinating. Can I take a picture of your hand to use for class?" So I have a picture of his hand.
Oh my!
With those infection from the erysipelas flock. So that's basically like a real life tale of when you do a necropsy, wear gloves.
Oh, of course.
Did he glove up after that?
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was fine.
Swine,
Yeah.
I mean, with swine, they are one of the closest things to humans. I mean, organ-wise, heart, I mean, a lot of stuff's going into research about using pig hearts for people now and all that stuff. So you can kind of see how those diseases that they can definitely pass between poultry, between people, all those different things. Better to be safe than sorry. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that takes us into the avian flu. And we're seeing avian flu in the news again. I don't think it ever really leaves the news anymore, but we're seeing big numbers of it now. So what's the latest information on avian influenza and the safety of our backyard flocks?
So when I started at Iowa State, I actually started in 2015. That was the first time, high path avian influenza hit the United States in a large scale.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal, right? Because we had like over 200 cases. We had 50 plus million birds that were depopulated. Wow. But at that point, there were only 21 backyard flocks that were affected. So at this point, the backyard owners thought, oh, this is a commercial poultry disease. This is none of our concern. We are immune to it because we have better immune systems, whatever, right? At that point. Well, here comes 2022, like a freight train. And this time around, this virus, like you said, has not left, it's kind of here to stay for a long period of time. This time around, the numbers flipped. So we had over, 1,000 cases that we had in the US in the year of 22 and 23. And over half of those cases were backyard flocks.
Wow.
So now it's hitting everyone. And same here. So we kind of reset our numbers. If you go to the USDA website, you can actually track, the number of cases detected at the county level or at the state level online. And you can see, so it's reset a little bit, but now we still have 6 backyard flocks as of this year and 3 commercial flocks. So again, it's kind of like a 2-to-1 ratio, it seems like right now.
Wow.
So the risk is there, your birds are not safe. They're coming in from those wild migratory waterfowl. So if you have a pond or a lake or something close by where the ducks and geese like to hang out, that could be a cesspool of virus.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe don't go to the park, the water on the water's edge where you see the ducks and the geese at this point. Or if you do, change your shoes up, change your clothes, burn your nostril hairs with the alcohol, do all the things after that hike. Because we have we're in Maryland, so we have a lot of waterfront where we are, water everywhere. And I have, in the last few years, not gone on those hikes around the waterfront parks purely because of AI and, not wanting to bring it home and not even wanting it to be an option. But it's scary stuff. I mean, it's not going to go away. And what we were seeing is in the center of the country with those migratory flyaway zones, that's where it's going to get hit the hardest, correct? Is because of the migration?
Yes. Yeah. So I think it's seasonal. So the location is kind of erratic because unfortunately, these birds don't like reading the textbook and follow the pathways.
Yeah.
But, the spring migration, birds come from south to north and then fall migration north to south. So that pattern doesn't change. Mm-hmm. There's actually the words I would use to describe this is probably fascinating and terrifying website called birdcast.com. And if you go there, you can look at the activity of migratory birds on a given day. So like if you, let's say, for example, you click on April 10th and you look at how many millions of birds are in flight and, what state and how much, like what direction are they going? So they have arrows, like hotspots, and then, how many birds are in flight. And I think they're working on something where they can even figure out like what kind of birds are in flight. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a link. Let's say if you have a positive flock that was detected, you can look at the activity. I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of bird activity around this area. So it kind of makes sense that there's a lot of contamination in the environment that the birds can pick up.
And we've heard that this year that AI is starting to actually affect the waterfowl. Before they were just carriers and it wasn't really making them sick, but that some of them are now actually getting sick from it.
Yes. Yeah. So this virus is somewhat unique and it's done a lot of interesting things, including this whole dairy cattle thing. But the other part is it seems to be very specific on the species that it hits too. So for example, a waterfowl isn't just a waterfowl, right? You have like ducks and then geese and then other waterfowl. So ducks, again, like you mentioned, there's some ducks that have no problems. They'll carry the virus. They get maybe a little sniffly or maybe a little sick, but they don't die. But I had others that were brought to the lab where they were circling around and they were neurologic. Swans, they were experimentally given this virus. They had 100% mortality. So even if it's just, ducks versus swans, it seems to hit some birds particularly more so than the others.
And it's also carried by raptors, by the hawks that are eating the waterfowl, and then they can pass it along also. I mean, it's really complex and how easy it would be for your chickens to get it, even in the backyard.
So if you were keeping backyard waterfowl, I would imagine that you need to keep them off of any pond or body of water where the other wild waterfowl will gather.
That will be ideal. But I think the biggest thing is if you think there's something wrong with your birds, the best thing you can do is just test them, get a peace of mind, make sure you're not dealing with something else. And, as a chicken owner or a poultry owner, you probably want to know if my birds are sick, is this something that's communicable to my other birds? So I think for me, it's like I usually, when I teach my students, I said, you know what? you don't want to sit in suspense. Like, is it pregnant or not pregnant? So like, just get it out of the way, get a pregnancy stick, get that information, and then you can do whatever you need to afterwards.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I'm assuming in most states, you can probably just reach out to your extension office and they can guide you to where to get testing done.
Yes. Yeah. And if they are a little bit lost, what you can do is most states will have a veterinary school. And if not, you can probably find a neighboring veterinary school. There's usually someone like me, a poultry extension specialist, and they can guide you to either a local clinic that has some expertise, like Dr. Rebecca, that specializes in backyard poultry, that can do the testing for you or at least guide you. At least for our university, we have some testing guides with materials, some organizations also. I think Maryland Poultry Association probably has some.
University of Maryland, I'm sure.
University of Maryland. Okay. Yeah. So they probably have some tools and kits that they can send out to backyard owners or kind of have workshops where you can get a little bit more information.
Yeah, they definitely hold workshops.
It's a big, scary topic, but it's better. And we've talked about it before. And we've done special episodes. And we say it's better to be educated than to be scared. It's, know what you're dealing with. And the fear of the unknown is sometimes worse than the fear of knowing what you need to know about it. So educate yourself on what you're going to look for. If a whole bunch of your flock is getting sick all at once, then you might have to go into measures and figuring out, is this something or, what's going on at that point? And that's why we always talk about one sudden death and the necropsy of that bird can sometimes give you peace of mind.
Oh, yeah.
That, it's not something that's going throughout the flock.
Right.
But yeah. Well, this brings us to our question, but
we could ask you about 1,000 more questions.
We
really.
can keep you on, and we definitely want you to come back again and be a regular on the show.
We would love that. Yeah.
You are just delightful. You're so sweet.
I want to learn more about your poultry keeping in Japan too. Fascinating. I know it's pigeons, but I want to hear more about it.
Yeah. But the thing is that this is part of my job, and this ties in nicely with biosecurity. I'd love to have birds of my own. I can't.
Yeah.
Because if I have birds, I can't go to somebody else's farm because I'm not clean. Right.
Right.
So I would love to have pigeons. I'd love to be covered with quail, and I'd love to have them flying in my office. But then I'm sending a message to my producers, hey, I am unwelcome at your farm.
So the same for backyard flock. You don't have your own backyard flock because you're traveling so much.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because you would have to be sniffing the alcohol like every single day. Right? That would not be good.
I mean,
that would be bad.
We know you're a chicken lady at heart, but you're sacrificing yourself for the cause.
And your nasal hairs for that.
I'm basically like the fun aunt, I don't have children, but I can go see them somewhere else kind of deal.
Perfect. There you go. That's perfect.
So that brings us to this question that is 100% completely unfair that we ask every single guest that comes on the show. And you can have more than one answer because we do. What is your favorite breed of chicken?
Right now, it'll be a cinnamon queen.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Have you seen them as babies?
They're really cute.
They're super cute. Yeah. It doesn't look like what it's gonna look like as an adult, but when you get them, it kind of looks like baby quail, like with the striping.
The stripes, yeah. And
then they grow up to look like buff Orpingtons. It's kind of cool. I like them. Yeah.
Do you have any other favorite poultry?
You know what? I think I am a little bit partial to regular white leghorns. Like they're just a standard, beautiful, dainty bird. They have a lot of attitude, right? Most of them usually have a lot of attitude. They're freaky deeks, but I'm also kind of type A, so I kind of like how nervous they all get.
I have a 5-year-old white leghorn named Lucy, who she was the only white leghorn I had. So she took on the role of like going everywhere. So she goes on car rides. She does everything with us.
She's still pretty type A.
She is.
She loves people. Yeah.
But she wants to dig a hole that's like 6 feet deep.
And I got to dig now. I got to lay an egg now. I've got to do this.
I've got to do this, this, and this. And, she's just, I love her to death. And I can't imagine,
I agree. They're actually they're my favorite breeds. They're really
okay. Yeah. I thought I was like, that's kind of boring because I was like looking at all the back numbers. I was like, oh, they have like, like all the, the Wyandottes, the Egyptian Fayumis and stuff like that. That's actually my least favorite because they're mean. They are mean little suckers.
What? And she has a hard time getting her.
Yeah.
I tell people, if you're going to have Fayumis, you need to be comfortable with a bird that's going to flip you the middle toe on a regular basis. They're not people lovers. I mean,
No.
we handle ours from babies so that we can medicate them and take care of them if we need to, but they don't want to be held. They used to, Delilah, she used to just randomly bite my husband. Just every time he picks up, she'd bite him. Just because.
Yeah,
I had
it's so
one that I
funny.
had to draw blood, and it literally turned its head and it just pinched my skin the entire time I was bleeding it. So mean, like just no words, just biting the entire time. And it'll cinch further and further. So like it grabs a tiny amount of skin. Like I can't imagine that birds could be vindictive, but that's
They are diabolical little birds. They really are.
Yeah,
They're very smart.
It's partly the main reason when we started the show as the Breed Spotlight is to educate people on there are different personalities genetically in every bird and every breed.
And we said, do not get a Fayumi if you are a beginner.
If you want to hug your chicken every day, you don't want a Fayumi.
You do not want this bird.
Yeah.
No, I love.
If you're
mine.
in Egypt, maybe you want to get one.
Right? Perfect place. But yeah, they're an acquired taste for sure.
Amen.
I always say, could you see them in your flock? No.
I got them. I mean, I love them, but I have a million huggy chickens. You know, I have them because they're beautiful and interesting, not because they're nice and cuddly, because they're not.
Yeah. We do a lot of research on them because they're very resistant to heat stress. So they're wonderful birds for really hot environments.
And diseases also, correct?
Yes, yeah. They're fairly resistant to disease. I have to wait for one to die to open one up. So,
and they're connected to the Iowa Blue. So
yes. Yeah.
But they're miserable in the cold. I mean, we keep radiant heaters on for Delilah because she's miserable the minute it gets cold.
Yeah. They have it at McMurray. But
they do.
Yeah.
So if we haven't said enough good things about the Fayumi, go get yourself some.
Go get it. Go get it.
Middle toe is coming your way, though.
But yeah, we are just beyond excited to meet you before McMurray Fest. So we're so excited to be participating in the McMurray Fest with you. And, you know, we all have this common goal of chickens and going to the vets and getting the medical care they need. They need it. Sometimes they need to go see the doctor. It's okay. So we want to thank you 1,000,000% for coming on and spending this hour with us. And we would love to have you back on again to talk about some other biosecurity things for backyards or, you know, just other things that are going to help our backyard listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, for sure. So it was so great to meet you. Thank you so much. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
We just want to thank Dr. Yuko for a fantastic conversation. This lady knows her stuff. Listen to what she is saying.
She's so much fun and she's so intelligent. She's an instant friend. And we really hit it off with her. We love Dr. Yuko. Okay, are we ready to move on to
cracking the eggs?
Cracking those eggs. Now, this week we're talking comfort food again because these chicken ladies love some comfort food, man.
We needed more comfort.
We need more comfort.
Well, this was fun because, you know, we're edging into summer. So we did chili with cornbread topping and we did a really veggie heavy chili because that's how we like it.
Oh, yeah.
Like most of the recipes we developed, this one has tons of room for customization. You can make it with meat. You can make it vegetarian. You could add more or different veggies and beans. You'll need 2 eggs for the cornbread topping, or because we're not going to judge you, you can use a boxed cornbread mix and add the number of eggs needed on the box. Just do it your way, whatever's easiest.
Whatever. And when we were thinking about this recipe, even you and I have differences in the way we do the recipe.
Right.
So everybody's going to be a little different. So let's go into what you're going to need. And first for the chili, like Holly Ann was saying, you need a pound of ground beef, turkey, veggie beef, or veggie crumbles, a medium onion. You're going to chop it, a red or green pepper, seeded and chopped, and or both, if you like to do that.
I actually did both.
Yeah, I usually do both too. I do heavy peppers in mine. 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. You're going to mince it. 1 to 2 teaspoons of chili powder, depending on how you like it. Now, we were talking about this earlier, and I use a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons in mine, however you like it.
And a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So you're like 3 teaspoons to 6 teaspoons of chili powder.
Yeah, I'm a lot.
This is how this comes down. I do a teaspoon of chili powder and she does a tablespoon. That's how this breaks down. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm spicy. Yeah.
You are spicy. I am not. I am bland.
Okay. A teaspoon of cumin, because you want that like old shoe smell going in there. That's for sure.
It's a little funky, but it tastes really good.
It tastes so good every time
funky.
Every time I use it, I'm like, it smells like an old pair of sneakers or something. I don't know. And salt and pepper to taste. You're also going to need a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 1.5 cups of fresh or frozen corn. My chili, it's never without corn, always with corn.
You got to get that corn in there. That corn is good.
Oh, yeah. Con carne, isn't it? That's kind of what it's called. Chili con carne
simply means chili with meat.
Oh, well, also with corn, man.
Chili con corn.
Corn.
Chili con corny.
Corn. I love my corn. Yeah. Okay. 1 to 2 baby zucchini. I mean, make sure they're not adults and chop or slice them into half rounds.
Look, man, big zucchini get hard. That's all I'm saying.
That's what she said.
I like the babies.
And 1 can of black beans rinsed and drained, or you can change it up and use pinto or any kind of bean you want to use.
I actually threw some chickpeas in there because I love them so much.
I actually add kidney and black and pinto all to my chili. My chili is like an explosion.
I mean, honestly, if you didn't want to do meat or fake meat at all, you could just do extra beans if you wanted to.
Oh, you could do a bean chili. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's go into the ingredients before we move on for the cornbread topping. Super easy. A cup of cornmeal, a cup of all-purpose flour or your gluten-free all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a cup of milk, and the all-important 2 eggs.
2 eggs is...
You could also add some corn kernels in your corn topping.
I was thinking the same thing. I think you and I should redo this recipe and call it chili con corny.
I like that.
I like it.
Wait. We also need 6 tablespoons of butter or dairy-free butter, melted and cooled just a bit.
If you're all wondering, that's because that was on the next page.
We do have show notes. That's it.
We do. Of course we do. You know what? I can memorize a lot of things, but memorizing recipes is not.
We need to write our recipes down.
You're going to preheat your oven to 375. Grease or spray a Dutch oven. But if you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use a casserole dish, a baking dish, even a skillet, but it better be a really big skillet. Or, you could do it in 2 skillets.
1 for each hand. Boom, boom.
Set that aside. You're going to put a big skillet over medium-low heat. You're going to saute your meat of whatever kind, your onion, and your bell peppers until they're soft and starting to brown. Add your garlic and spices and cook them stirring for another minute or 2. Add in all the veggies and cook for like another 5 minutes or so, just to get everything nicely melted together. Stir in your beans. Then you're going to pour the chili into your prepared baking dish, or if you already started with a Dutch oven, leave it in there. Set that aside. You're going to make the cornbread topping. You want a large mixing bowl. You're going to whisk together the cornmeal, the flour or gluten-free flour, the sugar, baking powder, and baking soda, all your dry ingredients. Set that aside.
Yep.
Small mixing bowl, or sometimes I'll just use a really big measuring cup for this.
Yeah, and I have the measuring cups that are like 4 cups or 8 cups. And I use those a lot because I love the pour spout on them.
Yes, me too.
As it works well.
I also have, and I like to use this too, it's an old milk glass, and it's small, but it has a lip for pouring. It's an old milk glass mixing bowl from an old Sunbeam mixer.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
So in your bowl, whether it's vintage or not, you're going to whisk together the milk or dairy-free milk, your eggs, your butter or dairy-free butter, and whisk them until they're just combined. Add to the dry ingredients, fold them in with a wooden spoon or a silicone spatula.
Yeah.
Again, mix until they're just combined. You can throw those corn kernels in there too if you're looking for extra corniness. Pour that on top of your chili, pop it in the oven, bake for 30 to 35 minutes or until your cornbread is lightly golden.
And when you take it out and you put it in your bowl, then you can add some of your cheese. Yes, everything that you want to add.
Got to cheese that up.
Cheese that up. And I like personally taking tortilla chips and crumbling them and also adding them to the mix because I like a fiesta chili.
We're making chili con corny.
Yeah, I like it all, man.
We're going to redo this recipe, people. So just keep an eye out for chili con corny. It's going to be very special. That's all I can say. Very special.
Okay, try it. You might like it. Send us pictures. We want to see it. Cornbread, it's the corn season.
It's corn.
It's corn. Okay, this week's Retail Therapy, we are talking the Murray Fest Midwest because it's coming up sooner than you think.
It is coming up fast. So
and we want to see you guys there.
Be there or be square. Like I said last week, I will be there and be square. Come and join us.
Come and spend the weekend with us in Webster City, Iowa. Let me tell you, it's going to be so much fun. We are going to be doing 2 talks, and we're going to have a bougie coffee tent, and you're going to come and hang out with us. What could be better than this? Nothing.
Not much. Chickens, and more chickens.
And then concerts at night.
Right, concerts at night. We're going to do a quick rundown of some of the speakers, not all, because there have been some new speakers added. Jess Sowards, Anna of All Trades, Daniel Salatin, ours truly, Anacetta Scott, Farm Girl in the Making. We have, Jeanette Behringer's going to be there now. And I believe she's talking about heritage turkeys.
Yes, big time friend of the show, Jeanette.
Tom Watkins will be speaking. We have Joe Putman from Premier One Supplies. They make great stuff. Dr. Yuko Sato.
Yes.
Dr. Sato will be there speaking. Charles Dowding, UK gardener extraordinaire. That man, I will sit at his feet and listen to him talk about no-dig gardening forever. Zach Green is going to talk all things quail. That should be fascinating.
We have Jordan and Josh Kelly working Aussie's Homestead. They're going to be there. Yeah.
Love me some Aussies. I take River.
Yep.
Sarah Holton from the Holton Homestead. It sounds like she's doing like a lot of really homesteady stuff.
I mean, there's
canning, sourdough.
So much good stuff going on.
I mean, really. It's too bad we're going to be busy the whole time because I'd like to hear some of these folks talk.
We're going to be sneaking into their little speeches. So many great friends. The who's who of the chicken world is going to be talking there. Plus, it's a festival. It's a celebration of chicken keepers and poultry keepers and homesteaders and everybody. So come out, have a coffee with us, chat with us. We're going to be there from Friday to Monday. We're going to be there the whole time. And, we want to meet as many listeners as we can. It's your chance to come out and hang with us. We can't say much more.
And don't be square.
Go to Murray Fest Midwest. There's a whole website where you can check everything out, get your tickets, and there's some discounted tickets, I think, at this point. So check it out. You don't want to miss it. And I think they're even doing some hatchery tours on Monday morning.
Yes.
So,
on Monday morning, actually, there are going to be sales. You can pack your own chick order and take your chicks home with you on Monday.
Yes. And there's going to be a coffee truck. You can't go wrong with this.
And not go wrong.
Okay. So should we tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week?
Next week, we're going old breed. We're talking the Ardennes hen.
Yes, we are.
Fiona's joining us. We're going to be talking about growth, specifically the growth from your chickens to juveniles. What's going on physically?
Welcome back, the Floof Lady.
Ooh, cracking the eggs. This is surprisingly, ridiculously delicious. Buckwheat pound cake with chocolate chips.
And it was tested in the Kosmala kitchen.
It was, along with duck eggs from Metzer Farm. Retail Therapy. Oh, our new coffee sponsor, Bright and Early Coffee.
And it's a big story behind this roaster. You're going to love it. So join in to learn all about them. We love them so much already. Okay, so what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens.
Every day and kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. Thanks for listening.